There we go. There we go. Let's see. Let's kick it over. Let's kick it over right there. Yeah. So tonight I got my headphones right here so I can actually listen to the music and hear notifications and all that stuff. So yeah, this will be fun. That was a little Katana Zero soundtrack. So I'm going to turn that down a little bit. Yeah, hope you all are doing well. I just finished making the next YouTube video that will be up in the next day or so. I want to give this a day to kind of breathe as well, and then we'll get probably the video up on Friday. I bet that might be the new schedule going forward. Is kind of we have live streams on Wednesday and Saturday, and then we might be able to hit up the weekly YouTube video maybe on Friday, kind of a nice sort of in-between thing. We could do that, or either do them on Mondays or something like that. So who knows? We'll still figure out the calendar and the schedules and stuff. Let me go and change. Here we go. We'll get the more fantasy-esque music. But this time I'm working on another card art portfolio painting. So it's, dinosaurs. And dinosaurs are cool. So I'm a really big fan of Ixalan. Ixalan is the, God, it came out now years ago. But Ixalan was a good Magic the Gathering set. And I really enjoy all of the colors. There's a lot of like greens and oranges. Really vibrant, kind of outdoorsy paintings. I have a few on my reference panel that we're going to look at, but I wanted to make one. I wanted to make kind of card art. So I got some photo bashing stuff and kind of put it together, and now we're going to paint it out. And we're actually going to use the technique that I cover in this week's YouTube video, which is underpainting, doing an underpainting in the different, kind of the opposite temperature of what your painting itself is going to be. So I want it to be kind of a cool, nice, vibrant painting. So we did kind of a darker, warm undertone, and you're going to see some of those, hopefully, some of those paint strokes come through and make it look really traditional, which will be cool. So let's just hop into it, man. Let's look at what we got here. Boom. Let me move that, and I can also move that. There we go. So that way every time I click on my browsing stuff, or my browser for the stream, it's not minimizing what my chat is. Okay, so that should be good. We'll see. And once again, let me know if the music is too loud or too low or anything like that. I will be able to listen to it now, which is cool. Kind of have that atmosphere and ambience, the same thing you guys are hearing. But wear my big old headset, noise canceling, all that stuff. So we are just making basically a piece of card art right now. Let me move the microphone over here. There we go. So that way it's facing here. We can kind of see it and all that good stuff. Let me move my drink over here then. And we would not be an artist if we didn't wear our art glove. These are actually really nice, by the way. Let me click over here. The art gloves that you get with your touch monitors are actually pretty good, because you can see where mine's kind of worn in. I have a replacement, but I need to swap it out here before too long. But it's to make sure you don't smudge the monitor while you're working, which is cool. So yeah, let's just come over here, boom, and we'll do this a little bit. So really my main thing is, let me pull up, we'll bring this So I have this one, this one, this one, and also images, open images. Move those. Don't want to give away what some of the new videos about. Where is it at? Here it is. Tyler Jacobson one. Cool. So yeah, see these nice like oranges and blues and stuff. Very, very cool. Yeah, let me move that. Let me move that. This one's a Randy Vargas, I believe. This one's Izzy. I'm glad that even some of these pictures have the artist credit on them. But like I can spot a Tyler Jacobson and a Randy Vargas from 100 miles away. I have studied them so much. There we go. Who's this one? Does this one have the credit? No. It's not an artist I'm familiar with. They're really good though. There's a reason I saved this on the on the panel right here. So yeah, this is the type of vibe I would like to go for. You can see I kind of exactly mimicked this almost verbatim. But you know, no big building. I wanted more of a sky in the background because I really like how this is really light and vibrant, but you can see some of the painterly cloud type stuff to make those skies. I think that's a very cool effect. I want to try that. Phoenix! What's up, my friend? Welcome. So don't worry about my big old headset that I got on. I should probably just use earbuds. It would be less bombastic on the deal, but you know, it is what it is. I'm a gamer, bro. So I got my gaming headset. So here's what we're gonna do. I need to actually unphoto bash a lot of this. So you'll kind of see me. Yeah, do I want to change this temperature at all? Maybe so. Let me minimize this. I'm gonna come in here. And I'm gonna gradient map this. I want it to be warmer. I could just do selective color. I may do that actually. Because the gradient map's just not kind of what I want to do right now. That will be for later. Okay. So we will come over here. We will do selective color. Yes. Do something like this. Warm that up. Warm it. There we go. Let's do the reds. Let's also do whites. There we go. Yellows. Do we want to crank those or... Yeah, we can crank them a little bit and then blacken out the whites. Make it look really weird. No, we can remove some of that. But then with the blacks, we do actually want to... Get there. There you go. And this is just to make the underpainting, which might seem like a whole lot of work for literally something we're just going to paint on top of. But my theory is working on this and kind of working on this and getting this set up is going to give us richer colors later. So I do kind of dislike Photoshop. It is a necessary evil, but the reason why I do a lot of my color adjustments and like gradient maps and stuff in Photoshop is just way faster. It's super responsive, and like I've done it for, you know, however many years now, and I just know it like the back of my hand. So whenever I really start with something, I kind of go through here, but whenever I want the thicker brush strokes or kind of the more interesting interactions with the paint, I will probably take this over to like Art Rage or Rebel, maybe even Paintstorm Studio. Paintstorm Studio has seemed to be really fast and nice for kind of cutting in, doing some nice quick brush work, and then taking it to Clip Studio to really render it out. So, a little bit of everything. I got all these tools, might as well use them. So the theory is, let me, where's that down? Cool. File, save as. Let me save that as a PNG file. Art style. Yes. None on the compression. Okay. So we do something like that. Oh, and here's a little sneak peek of the thumbnail for the upcoming YouTube video. Should be live in the next day or so. So yeah, underpainting. Fun, fun, fun. It's actually super effective. Something I like to do in traditional art. I want to bring it to, you know, to digital. So we're going to do that. We're going to keep that open. But let me go ahead and actually bring it. Oh my goodness.
My brother.
My bro. Let's see. What do we got here? Well, what is this? I missed out on the deal. The alert box cut it off. It's crazy. XP pen tablet yesterday, man. It's so fast and accurate that my drawings look work. So it's funny because whenever you get a new tool, like basically exactly how you feel right now is how I feel with my iPad. That you know you have the skills and you know you have the stuff, but like whenever you're trying to like wrangle a new device, you know, it's just hard. It gets, oh, so is Marco. What's up, Marco? Baby. Dude, we're gonna do like, let me complete this thought first, and then I'll talk about our Street Fighter 6 stuff. So you just wait. So basically, when you get a new tool, whenever you start wrangling with it, you're gonna feel worse. Just because not only are you thinking about the art stuff and like how am I solving these problems on my canvas, but now you're like, where the hell is the button? Like, what is it? Well, do I touch it like this or do I touch it like that? Like, you go through so many different learning curves when you're using a new piece of hardware. It's crazy. It's like if you ever get a video game system and the controller is different and it feels different in your hands. The perfect example of this is if you have your driver's license and you're borrowing somebody's car, or like you're with a buddy, they normally drive, but for whatever reason they need you to drive, and like, you know, and you're driving somebody else's car, you forget how to drive for a minute. You're like, where's my foot pedal and where's the, you know. So I get it. Just know that your learning curve right now is harder, but once you get past that learning curve and you start getting more comfortable, your skill is gonna like skyrocket. And on that same note, we're gonna talk about Street Fighter, because I ordered me a leverless controller, which is basically an arcade joystick without the joystick. It has buttons. Basically, it's like a keyboard, but you play fighting games with it. And I'm excited. I'm terrified that I'm going to be dreadful with it, but I'm hoping it's going to be good. So we're really going to start grinding out Street Fighter. I also got Guilty Gear Strive downloaded. I got Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, which I like. I just don't quite understand it yet. And then, of course, Tekken. So we got all of them downloaded. I know they just released that SVC Chaos. I got to get that. Like, I have so many fighting games, but Street Fighter 6 is the one I want to focus on. You know what I mean? And here, we're going to... See, one thing I don't like about Paintstorm Studio is for some reason the windows don't respond to clicks anymore. So I just have to come and like get out of color swatches. Maybe there's like a certain thing that I have on that makes that not as good. Oh my goodness. Yo! Gifted subs, my man. You are a genius. Marco coming in clutch. Hitting them goals. Frog Melodies, hello, hello. So good to see you. So yeah, I'm on YouTube and Twitch right now at the same time through the magic of technology. But yeah, so I bring up the hardware thing about like getting better with it because I'm gonna have to get better with a leverless. I'm excited though because I think a lot of my problem is I keep dropping inputs, and I'm hoping that that will help having the leverless. I'm gonna move that over so I don't give away any NDA stuff. Where's my Velociraptor? There we go. Twitter and Facebook. Yeah, it's so weird. And I'm using Restream, so I know you can do it like natively in the app, but I also don't want to spend 20 bucks a month to make 20 bucks a month. You know what I mean? Like, so Marco, what hitbox did you get? Like, do you have one? I got the Watt 42, that T16. So for the painting, now I have my underpainting here. This is kind of where everything is, where everything's gonna be. So now I'm gonna start adding in my actual colors. It's gonna look really weird at first, but then once you cover the whole canvas with your colors that you want, it's gonna be pretty good. Okay, so I did see I'm subscribed to Dave Raposa, one of my favorite illustrators, on Patreon, and he came out with a video either yesterday or this morning where he showed a new method where he likes to add color. So I'm gonna try that. I don't know how it's gonna work. I might fall in love with it. I might not like it as much, but we'll see. So I'm gonna duplicate this layer. That way everything we do has the pixels to work with. Because if you just paint on a new layer, whenever you're using wet blendy brushes, there's nothing to blend in to it. So every time you put a mark down, it's kind of the first mark, and then you can work with that mark and like smudge stuff out. But if you have a duplicate, if you have all of your visual pixels there, the math works a little better on like smudging brushes and stuff. Yeah, man, thank you for lurking, brother, and appreciate all them subs, man. That's incredible. I know I need to start making more emotes and stuff now that I'm back. Get some cool like giveaway type stuff and all that. So this color method, basically, I am going to, well, no, the way he does it, the way he does it, I actually do have to, well, maybe not. Maybe I can just lower the brush opacity here. Brush form, general. I think he said he did like a 60% opacity, and then the flow would be like, well, probably color amount. Oh, but see, you can also take underlayers color. That's a cool feature. I like that. Basically, it does exactly what I wanted it to do. So I have Paint Tool Sai. I have not used it in forever. So here's a bright blue sky. Here's where we're gonna have this. But I'm gonna pick this, come across here, keep the same value, and then let's go, let's try this. Let's do boom. Let's do boom. Yeah. See, that's what I want. So this is a small thing. But if you look at how, oh, thought I was holding the space bar. Control Z. There we go. If you see how these colors are blending, that's like exactly what I want. That's exactly what I want. Because it's going to give a lot of visual variety. And then the harder I press, the more vibrant it is. So we're going to come over here. Because I want to get that Tyler Jacobson look. That's what I want. So we have this. And see, it looks really odd right now. That's also by design, right? So. Cool. So we have something like that. You see that? So see how it has that nice kind of wispy, painterly look without trying too hard? I dig it. So we're going to come over here. Same thing there. There. Kind of hit this up here. And so far the theory's working okay. It's, The theory sometimes, whenever you think logically about a way to do an art technique, maybe it's not as... maybe it works well in theory, but then in practice it's not quite as easy or as good, or it doesn't work the way you think it would. So it's always good to get into a paint program and, like, if you have an idea on if something will happen, like mixing colors like this, go test it. Just go try it, because you genuinely never know. So we have this. We have some blues here in the highlights. This, I'm going to do this, and instead of doing an exact complementary color, which is where you go across the color wheel, I'm going to go across and then over a little bit to kind of change some of those hues, you know, but keep the same value, because I think that's it's a cool thing to do. So tonight's stream will just be really blocking in these colors. I mean, because this might take a little bit, but I also do like the way this looks, you know. Actually, we'll go this way. And of course, after we get all this stuff in here, if it doesn't look right, we can always come and change it. But it's important to just get these tones on here just to see how they work together. So if we got that. Okay. Boom. Boom. Kind of blendy there. Boom. Get that up. So like I said, this is going to look kind of odd at first. But as we start bringing in more and more of the color, it's really going to start making sense, which is awesome. I'm starting to like more and more whenever it's like the Bob Ross happy accident stuff. When you just kind of let the paint or the brushes kind of do their own thing, you know, and then you don't really mess with it too much, you get this really nice result that you can't really plan for. You know, because with acrylics and watercolor and all that stuff, you can't really plan for anything. You can have a decent idea of what something's going to look like, but Mother Nature has a way of, you know, correcting you. So yeah, the whole point of an underpainting, and I talk about it in the upcoming YouTube video, is just to give yourself a map. Like, that way you know where to put your values and what is kind of going on in the painting. But then you automatically get good contrast because you're working in different temperatures. You know, if you got the cool underpainting and you do a warm painting on top, it's really gonna pop. Or like vice versa. Like we have a warm underpainting and putting the cools and the blues and the greens and the whites and stuff on top of that really makes it pop, and it makes it pop easily. Like I don't have to do much, and we automatically have some good color contrast, good brush work, all that stuff. Anything that makes it easier, I'm all for, because you can really kind of be in the weeds on this stuff, and it makes it not fun, and you know what I mean? Like it just doesn't quite. Sometimes it's just not working out, and it's sad. But hopefully this is a good way to do this. Like, let me show you a good example of that. So all of these, but really like Tyler Jacobson stuff. If we open this, you see a lot of that like here. You see what I mean? Like you have that warm going into the cool, but it looks like he had the warm underpainting and brought those cools on top of it. And kind of the same thing here, right? I mean, you see a little bit of yellow, that little hit of yellow right here. You got your cyans, which are really nice. I'm loving cyan as a color. It's kind of a perfect color. And then, and like, especially here, like, you got this nice brown that acts as kind of a bridge color, but you have your cyan here, your desaturated cyan, and then your slightly more saturated yellow and orange, but they're still within the same value range. I love how this looks. Like, I think this is like top tier master level stuff. Nathan, oh Nathan, welcome. Thank you for the sub on YouTube, my friend. So yeah, we see all the. Why is it not letting me? There we go. And then you get a nice purple. So you got that nice warm and cool hit. Really, it's a brown, but to our eyes, it looks a little purple, right? But yeah, Tyler is a genius when it comes to this stuff. And like here, that looks great. But you can see it in a lot of people's work. See like the nice green hit on the where the red is. I mean, Izzy is also. What's really cool about Izzy's work, if you see as it goes back, it gets cooler with the greens, and as it comes to the forefront, you get darker with the warms and the reds, and then of course you have red against yellow, which just like makes it really pop. And like, of course, Randy Vargas is a genius. So same thing. You got the warm and the cool juxtaposition. It's just finding ways to get that type of brushwork, and like, look at these nice cooler purples on top of those oranges. It's awesome. But finding a way to get that quickly. That way I can kind of see it better as I'm working, I think it's a good way to go. So like I said, it looks a little odd because the rest of it is not done the same way, so it looks a little off right now. But that's kind of the point. And what I'm thinking is, we have some of this, some of that light coming in here. We're going to keep those silhouettes sharp on here. And this is just with one brush, by the way. I'm not swapping brushes yet. I'll do that a little bit later. We do like this type of thing. And what's cool is you can always pick that. You can color pick any of those transition colors that look really good and kind of reintroduce those back into. So we got those. Here we go. Got that. Cool. So my theory now is, go ahead and save. Save as. So this is where, instead of using specifically the, just always the complementary color, like across the color wheel, I wonder if the same technique can work as long as you're on the same value as your underpainting. If you pick the color, the local color, like the color you want the thing. So the reason I'm kind of unsure about this, let's try it. The theory is sound, but I don't know if it'll look super artificial because everything around you is constantly kind of choreographed and worked upon by the light around it. So like a pretty good rule of thumb is if you want to know what color your shadows should be, it's probably the color of the surrounding area. So like if you have a red background and you have a blue ball, the bounce light and that shadow and that type of stuff is going to be more red because that's the light that's being pulled into, because you're not getting hit with the light. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, that's where the theory is. But how does it work in practice? So, like, if I do this, well, okay, well, that, okay, I couldn't have planned that actually any better. I was going to be like, I need a green. So I'm going to pick this, but not worry about, okay, that one's a little more realistic. Because whenever I picked this color, it was purple, and the complement of purple is green. So I was like, well, maybe that just answered my own question, and I'm too much in my own head. But like, it's dark. Let me get this green color, but keep the same value. And then come in here. I'll be damned, that might work. So, okay, here's a good one. So you got like this reddish. We're going to do the same thing with the green, not touch the value after we pick. We'll kind of keep that there. Is that actually going to work? Oh, man, that's rad. This might actually, holy crap. All right. All right. I think we actually had a genuine level up moment live on camera, which, one, it's rare nowadays to get really good, exciting level up moments, but two, to have it on camera. I think this works. I think doing the underpainting, maybe shifting some of the stuff, use a gradient map, anything you want to do. Then using that color pick and pick the local color of the thing. So like if it's a school bus, you'll pick yellow school bus or green school, whatever color you want it to be. And work with a not 100% opacity brush, but like 70, 60%. Choose that color, then that underpainting is going to infer on top of that, or I guess below it, but like it's going to mingle. I was just curious if it would work on these type of, so the real test is going to be like this, like how dark this stuff is. So if we do this, and then I come over, and it's like right here. So we got that, boom, boom. Because I've wanted to be able to do that Tyler Jacobson look forever. Like forever, ever. It's one of the main things that made me want to start to be a painter again, is seeing his stuff and being like, how is this guy even real? He's a genius. But maybe, just maybe, we can also become a genius. You know what I mean? And see, you're gonna notice I'm not putting full pressure on any brushstroke. You know, I'm not fully going for it. Not yet. I am going to do that near the focal point, near the Velociraptor's mouth, and I'm going to do some design language and stuff around the head. That's where I'm going to go really thick, 100% opacity, thick brushes, all that stuff. But this is really what I was kind of concerned with, is getting this stuff to read okay. And it does. It does. And that's awesome. That's super awesome. Because, like, I'm going to look up this other Tyler Jacobson painting real quick, and I will show it on. But, like, he's so good at stuff like this. You see what I'm saying? That is just nuts to me. And, like, yeah, like, little things like this. And see, it's not very... It's atmospheric. It's in the background, so it doesn't have to be super sharp. But just the contrast of the warm and the cool. You know what I'm saying? And you're automatically going to get warm versus cool, or cool versus warm, or whatever, if you do complementary colors. That's how physics and light works. So that's a good, like, quick way to get that. Let me find this, I think I know where it is, too. It's one of my favorite paintings he's ever done. Yep, here it is. Cool. I'm right here. Dude is just a monster at painting. So, if you see that look, like, you see the browns, you see the underpainting, but you see this almost light, it's weird. It's not quite transparent, but it's not fully opaque. It's this nice, vibrant hit of the cools with the warms. I got little flies flying around me. But, you see what I mean? And, like, even this one line. There's one line. And one line's awesome. Then you can see the slightly desaturated gray brushstrokes. The really rich browns and reds, all that heat back here. Same thing here. Ashley Wood does this a lot too. He is incredible at this. But this is maybe my favorite thing in painting, period. And I've always wondered how to consistently get it. And I think we're closer to finding that out. And of course you get the nice warm, the warm white. See, like back here, blue, kind of the gray. God, that's awesome. Freaking incredible, man. Stuff like that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If I can make, in my lifetime, 2 paintings like this, I'll be ecstatic. You know what I mean? This is such a mastery of the craft. It's ridiculous. Um, all right. Anyway, so and as a nice little, kind of as a treat, I'm gonna do that. Have that there. Cool. All right. So this is what we got right now. This is where it was, just so far as the just a pure toned kind of grisaille underpainting. And this, it automatically like brings this to life pretty well. And we're not even close to being done yet. But like, that's not a bad start. That's exciting. I do need to fix some of these shapes like back here, really, I think. We can maybe actually keep that as a brown mountain, you know. And we can... And this is just with one brush. I haven't even swapped brushes yet. So who knows what this is really going to look like. You know what I'm saying? There's that. That's cool. Let's do that. Let's get a new bright color in there. That one. Boom, boom. That's cool. Okay. See, yeah, I'm comfortable that that's probably how it's done. Or at least kind of on the same wavelength, you know what I mean? And if all else fails, this just makes painting more fun, which is always a benefit anyway, right? Got that, you got these wispy cloud looking things, bam. And a few of those strokes we can just leave there. Are you live often? Hey, what's up, Cody? So this is actually my second stream back in over a year. So thankfully now, my stream schedule is kind of back. I'll be going live every Saturday night and Wednesday night, so twice a week. We're gonna start with that, kind of see how it goes. But yeah, basically I have littles. I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and the 1-year-old just got to the point to where she sleeps all the way through the night. So now we get to do live streams at night. You know what I mean? So we'll go live, multiple hours on Saturdays and Wednesdays. And then I'm still aiming to get the weekly YouTube video up as well. And that's on top of the actual painting and illustration and mentoring and all that stuff. So there's a lot going on, but I'm excited about it. I'm super excited to be back live because I think doing stuff in this way can actually be more immediately helpful because we have chat to bounce off of. You know what I mean? Like, so if somebody has a question or they're like, oh, I noticed you did this. Can you explain your reasoning behind it? I can do it right then instead of, sure, let me put it on the agenda and make a YouTube video 3 months from now about it. Which is whatever, but, there's merit in that. But that way it lets us do a little bit of both. A little bit of the instant feedback and a little bit of the more time capsule-y YouTube video stuff. So I do mentoring. You can message me either on, you can email me if you go to my website. Yeah, any of that stuff. And then we can discuss kind of what the goal is and things like that, and then pricing and all that. So I don't do it a lot. I am going to be picking up the pace on that quite a bit, though, coming this fall. This fall, I'm really going to hit it hard. Probably take on like 15, 20 students maybe. But yeah, there's a lot of NDA stuff I'm working on, so I don't have quite the time yet, but Yes, so I am open for mentoring, just not 20 people at a time. You know what I mean? So yeah, yeah, hit me up. We can work something out. And it's a lot of fun, you know. Oh yes, we will be doing some mentoring for sure. Um, so yeah, it'll be kind of private one-on-one. We'll do it probably through Discord, I bet, and then screen sharing. But then also there's, depending on what your needs are and stuff like that, we'll work on a set agenda for not only like improvement but stuff to study. And then we can do it as often or as not often as your budget allows or your needs allow, because it's not one of those things of like, oh, I'm gonna mentor. I need you here every Tuesday at 8 a.m. because, well, like, no, no, no. It's your mentorship. So, like, you dictate the schedule of it, and then we'll find the times and stuff that work well. But some people, like, I've done mentoring with other pros where they just hang out on Discord for a few hours. They pay me for my time, and then they're like, what could I fix here? And it's like, oh, well, let me take a crack at this and we'll talk shop. And then, oh, this and this and this. And that's all they need. They just done it once, but they needed help on one thing for a client or something. And, it's an NDA. You can't really show it to anybody, but we are all kind of under that same pact, I guess. Like we swear our blood oaths so that we won't spoil anything. So it's easier to trust other pro artists in that way, because why would they leak whatever you're working on? Because they also have stuff they're working on that they can't leak. So like there's that back and forth. So it's built on trust, and it's super important. I've been teaching myself in a few years, feel like I can get there on my own. Oh, for sure. I mean, I can get where I need faster with a mentor too, no question. Like, what I need to do is say, email freaking Tyler Jacobson and be like, hey man, I'd like to pick your brain for 2 hours. I'll pay you for your time. How the hell do you do these brushstrokes? Like, because it's nuts, man. I'm gonna look at it again, because like this one's actually oil paint, by the way. This one's a real painting, a traditional painting, a tactile, physical painting. So yeah, this one's oils, but this one of his is digital, and you can tell it's by the same artist because of the way the brush strokes are done. Just there's so much, and like, okay, seeing that little hit of transparent orange on top of the blocked out silhouettes, stuff like that. Like, I need to ingest all these little lessons just staring at the paintings and really make it seem like it's second nature to me. And another thing I noticed, he doesn't use a lot of rim light, which is interesting because you would think, like Izzy, I love Izzy to death. Izzy uses rim light. See the rim lights right here, the green, of course the white where the light hits and stuff. It's just an easy, quick way to separate your subject from the light source. But if you do it too much, it actually flattens everything out. Dude, Tyler's on a different freaking level, man. And then Randy Vargas is a beast, and he does the correct thing. Oh, well, I mean, all of these artists do the correct thing, but he does the correct thing where rim light doesn't go around the entire, like, he's not extending this light down here, like down and outlining the whole tail and all that stuff. He doesn't need to. And to be fair, physically, if you look like from the logic of light and how light works, you would have that comes down here. But the reason why Randy Vargas is a freaking genius is he realizes that it looks better cut off here, and he already has the contrast he needs with the orange going against the purple and the green and, kind of the grays. He doesn't need a rim light to separate, because yeah, right. So like, this is your moneymaker. You know what I mean? Like your contrast, yeah, absolutely. So he understood what this is, and yeah, you don't need to look over here while it's very good and just painted really well. This is not what you bought the card for. This is what you bought the card for. And, you know, I always talk about this, that, you know, value does all the work and color gets the credit. But like if we just right click and then go to like canvas, grayscale, look at that. Money. Money. The nice darks, the lightest light is in the eye. Super good lights right here. Great contrast, I mean, everything. But then, here's what's really interesting, and where I got the idea to maybe keep the value locked in on the underpainting, and then just pick another hue to work with, is if you look at this on Tyler's work, and even on the one where he does the brush strokes, yeah, you can still see the brushwork, but it's not as... I mean, it's still genius, but it doesn't like vibrate. You know what I mean? But whenever you have the warms and the cools, that's where you start getting that vibration, and it's just unbelievable. And see, like, Izzy's a genius. So yeah, I love working in grayscale. It's my favorite way to work. And then, but that's really kind of what this exercise is right here, is can I find a way to work in kind of washed grayscale, render out my forms, kind of get everything where I want it, and then introduce color in a way that is painterly and has that depth and that vibration. And yeah, overall I think this has a ton of potential. A ton of potential. Because it's like, if all I need to do is like pick that, go across, go like that. See, it's not really taking out all of the it's not taking all the attention away, even if it is a different hue. You know, go there. I'm going to do a few of those just to sort of bring that in. But since I'm not at 100% opacity on the brush, that also helps quite a bit. Here, I'm going to actually mute that back down. And here, boom. Get a few hits right there. I'll actually paint it over his little claw. So we will do that. Boom. Get some of these in there. Stay kind of zoomed out just to make sure it's working okay. But yeah, this automatically is just giving some interest to what we're getting on the page, right? Get rid of that harsh outline right there. Okay. Bad have blasting all over my texture and rendering everything smooth. It is more fun. Like, I'm loving texture and brush strokes and stuff like that. I love that. My big thing was I was starting to rely on that too much, and the pictures themselves, if you took away all the texture and all the kind of the gimmick of it, they were just boring. They're boring to look at. So I'm hoping this is a way to kind of circumvent that a little bit. And that, you know, also comes down to composition and stuff, and that is definitely a weak point of mine, but, you know, you gotta start somewhere. And not, really not get so far, like, up in your own head about it, I guess. Just kind of trust the process. So, like, even if I get that, and let's kick that over. So that's cool. You can do that. Just introducing some of those colors right there. They don't really make sense, but they kind of don't have to. Because remember, the rule of cool is very, very powerful. If it looks cool, that is what is important. Let me kick that up a little bit. Boom. that vibrance in there a little bit. So yeah, that's not like, I'm liking the peering through stuff. I will use different brushes here in a minute just to get different looks, but really this was about getting these colors in there first, and then boom. See, starting from this, going to that, it's automatically working really well. Let me go ahead and get that. So yeah, as long as we're staying within the realm of the correct values, we should be safe to kind of play around like this. Keeping everything dark, keep the key real low, you know, don't add any highlights, don't do any of that stuff. Let me get that over here. Okay. Now the real moment of truth here, I'm thinking, is going to be finding the right colors for our Velociraptor. So the thing I really like about Ixalan, the Magic the Gathering set, is there was a lot of like red dinosaurs, and you know, it had some really cool looks to the dinos. Hey, no worries, Phoenix. I'm just glad you're here, man. It's just fun to hang out, you know. Let's see. What colors did they have? See what I mean? Like these nice, the blue and the cyan, or the cyan and the red, rather. Maybe I should go for that. Maybe I should try that, because that looks awesome. And the green eyes, ooh, that works, man. And my thing is, like, I need to build up my instinct a little better. It is getting better, and I can feel it better. Like, I can feel it. Like, my decisions that I make are better, quicker. But, like, this of, you know, desaturated, pushed out, you got the ambient, not occlusion, but the ambient perspective, atmospheric perspective of the pushed out dinosaur. We have this one here to establish what it looks like, what the color should be. But then this, you'll notice, got rid of that cyan. You know, and I mean, this one did too, because it's a different type of, but like, that's good instinct. That is good instinct, you know. That's what I need to work on, is like, and that might just come from experience, you know, knowing when to let stuff go, when to not have it be as rendered, and not as like profound in the colors and stuff. So if we come over here, I'm gonna get my low texture brush. Yeah, and I mean, like I said, this is already looking pretty cool. And I can just keep that right there. I know that's really chaotic and doesn't make much sense, but once again, it's not our focal point, so maybe it doesn't matter. This is... So, how... The purple, maybe? Let's try that. Let's try a purple. Because we got our greens right here. This is a warm. Let me try purple. Wait, let's get a good purple midtone here. We'll try that. And then I will have to probably go into Photoshop here in a minute, or something like a Clip Studio, and really re-render kind of some of these details and stuff. But it should be worth it, because then if I come over here and maybe, well, actually I don't want to mess with the values yet. See if that actually works okay. It needs to be a lot darker. So we know this is going to be red tongue. So that's actually fairly easy. Yeah, we can keep that right there. Kind of the inside of the mouth. We'll also do some tonsil looks right there. There, that ligament. Okay. So I do like that idea of like the super nice green eyes. I think that's kind of a genius idea. So, don't mind me while I steal that idea. Something like that. Yeah. And see, you still get some hints of that color underpainting. Now, in the detail area right here, I am going to like more tightly render that. You know? I'm going to come back in and really get small brushes and do some work. But really it's just about getting the look and the feel of it. So I'm curious if I should maybe just do a color overlay to change the underpainting color of the dino, or if I should just keep working this way. I don't know. What's up, Lucid? Have any videos on getting into digital art as a beginner? So I have a few videos on like how to pick what software to use and like what kind of artist you want to be and what's kind of the easiest to jump into from that. I have a fairly recent ranked video that ranks I think 19 different programs on like which one should you start with and stuff like that. And then there's one from, I want to say like 2020 that was real popular. It had like 200,000 views or something. But like as part of just a get started That's a good idea for video. Like if you were just starting from scratch, you wanted to do digital art, you don't know what to get or what to buy, or if you need to buy anything, or that's a good idea. I will say, get Krita. And somebody in chat, feel free to link Krita. Krita's free, and it is outstanding. And you can learn every fundamental about digital art and using the structures and layer management and all that stuff in Krita. But also the brushes are perfect. I've done pro work. Some of my Star Wars work was in Krita. So it's the perfect place to start. And then if you want more of if you want like touch tablets and art pens and stuff like that, there are 2 companies that I highly recommend because the cost of entry is way lower than, like, you don't need a Wacom tablet. You don't need it. Hell, I don't have a Wacom tablet. It's overkill. They don't work great. They're fine, and they're like super deluxe, like $2,000 thing. You don't need all that. There's a company called XP Pen. XP and then a dash pen. And then there's a company called Huion. Huion. I'm actually using the Huion right now. I got the full 22-inch monitor, that whole deal. I got it on a Christmas sale for like $220. And I'm using it right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's fantastic. Oh, cool. Okay, good deal. Yeah, Crit is awesome. Crit is really all you ever need. I'm an insane person, and I have like pretty much 19 different programs. But yeah, that's kind of that's really it. And then it's all about what type of stuff you want to do, because from there you can go and you can study, and the study is where the fun happens. A lot of people don't like studying. I think the sooner you fall in love with studying and like learning, you're gonna have a way easier time. So if you want like anatomy, there's 2 that I really recommend for anatomy. But if you ask artists, they're gonna fight over which one is more worthwhile. I think they're both worthwhile. I'm a big fan of reading everything and trying to take bits and pieces of what I need from each person. So the 2 people are Hogarth and Bridgman. You get Hogarth and Bridgman. They're both focused on drawing anatomy from imagination. So they're not about like labeling parts of a skull or they don't really care about that as much. They care about like what makes a cool looking picture, like what kind of, poses or whatever are look good and feel right, and like they don't look like they're incorrect. Even if it's from imagination, you learn about shapes and wedges and how things connect and all that. It seems really, really, really bare bones and basic, but it is gold. Because that's the stuff like I'm still improving on right now, and I've been a pro for almost 5 years, and like I can still read those books, and the way they succinctly explain things, like, oh, the neck is actually this kind of shape and it's attached here, and like the one that I was like, oh, I'm an idiot, why didn't I think about that? You have your rib cage muscles right here, but really, depending on where your arms are, the way that your chest moves and the way the features on your chest move are basically within a 45-degree angle of the center of your collarbone. And I read that like last week, and I had this moment. I was reading it and I was like, it is 45 degrees. Holy crap. And like it sunk in this time. I've probably read that passage 30 times, but I read it this time and I was like, 45 degrees, of course. And now every time I would do a study of somebody's arm up in the air, I would make sure that the muscle and the tendons and like the chest features, 45 degrees, works every time. I'm like, God, I need to pay attention. That's the moral of that story. I need to actually read this stuff and then try to implement it because it works, But yeah, see, so now we're just adding some brush strokes here. I'm going to try this real quick. I may not like it, but we can just delete it if I don't like it. I'm going to color, and then I'm going to, there we go. I'm going to make, what's up, Brent? It's good to see you, brother. See, I'm a newbie when it comes to dinosaurs, so I thought it was a velociraptor. But the proportions are probably off for a velociraptor, which, you know, shows how good I am. Okay, so that's like kind of like a purple gray, kind of a slate, warmer gray essentially, a little bit of browns, kind of the same thing here actually. And then the nice green underlight coming up from the grass. But these are nice and blue. I don't know. I think that looks great. Yeah, like cyan. Oh, but the sky has a lot of And then see nice orange and purple. So maybe an orange and purple look. Let's try this. Let me get orange. Actually, yeah, let me get orange first. And this is actually going to get rid of all of those other things that we just did, which is kind of dumb, but whatever. Maybe doing it like this will actually help us kind of see it more. Oh, that's too saturated. So what are the features here? So maybe if I just do some like orange there. And see, the nice thing about a color layer, you can paint with the hue on top of it, but it's not going to affect the values that are underneath. So the lights and the darks are going to stay light and dark, but then the actual hue is going to shift. And actually, I like that idea of the green under passage right here. So we're going to do green under, kind of here. Same thing here. So maybe let me get this in there. Purple doesn't quite work, I don't think. Not there, at least. So maybe if I come over here. Maybe if I do purple around, like... And if I do a real bright orange... Maybe like around here. Because I want it to pop. I just want it to look cool. I don't care if it's like anatomically correct or whatever. I just need it to look good for the painting. And then we would also do like super bright red tongue, right? Because that's catching light, so. I don't know. I don't think. It's probably also because I have those mountains back there. So if I were to like gray out those mountains. Do something like this. And this one back here. This also makes them cooler, so it does kind of that atmospheric perspective for us. Right? So we have something like that. And maybe I just need to like really, maybe I need to like like pop it like that. That might, yeah, that might be it. Interesting. XP pen, yeah. After that, I'm gonna look at different art styles and see what I like. Thank you so much, Lucid. Yeah, the best thing to do, find the artists that like really super inspire you. Like whenever you see their work, you just get excited. Like, how did they do that? I'm actually on the agenda. There's a YouTube video I'm going to make, and it's called like, what's the one question to make sure you never burn out? You know, like what's one thing to always remember and you will never ever burn out? And the question that you have to ask is, how did they do that? You need to find art where you literally, you look at it and you're like, this is unbelievable. Like, how did they do that? Because that's going to be the gasoline for your vehicle. You know what I mean? Soften the details in the mountains. No, you're totally right. Yeah, to get the details out of there, because the thing is, I need to tighten up some of the details here, of course. Really, this is just because this is where we were at the start, and then we did our theory about underpainting to see if we could get that kind of nice Tyler Jacobson look, and then we got there, and you can see how some of the warms from the underpainting are still showing through, which is something I very much like. And now it's about like getting in the right colors to make this pop. And then, yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm going to go in, I'm going to start smudging some of the details out here. But you see, like, I'll keep like this palm tree. I don't know why. And this is like a really goofy art thing. I love this palm tree because it has the greens that are saturated, but also it has those nice warms underneath it. And like, yeah, I could probably clean up some of this, but see how some of the, let me move it. Some of those reds are in the brushstroke anyway. Like, I want to keep that because that's what I love about Tyler's stuff. Like, you can see those blues, you can see those slate grays, you can see that stuff, even if it's out of focus. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's out of focus, it still works because of that vibration of the warm and the cool. Like, super good. But like, we'll keep that there. So yeah, we will, let me add in. So we have the greens we can introduce a little later. But like here, we got, and you know, as this goes back, it's going to start matching more of the that sky color, right? Just because since it's going away from us, it is going to blend in, get a little bit more desaturated. Oh, I think I know what it should do. I have that. Maybe purple is not the right color. Maybe that bright hit of cyan is going to be the right color. So let me add some of these, get that. like I said, this is just a quick color overlay layer. So maybe if we got that, and then we do get that cyan, but it stays pretty bright and like... What I'll probably have to do is that shadow color, that blue. And see, it's a little aggressive right now, but I think we should... I have a tendency to start too safe. So maybe if I start to buck wild and kind of work out from there, or work it down, maybe that's a good way to go. But see, and here's where art theory kind of flies out the window. Is the color of the shadows. So I know the color of the shadows, excuse me, are supposed to mimic the surrounding atmosphere more so than any other color. Like, so essentially, the atmosphere around us right now would be probably more of a cyan, actually, because if you have the green of the grass and then the blue of the sky, blue plus green equals cyan, right? So if we pick some cyan and then we come in with a super light touch, oh, see, that's too heavy. Oh, there we go. Kind of smear it away. You know, is that correct? I don't know. Something seems off about it. But that could also be because my values are wrong. Or maybe the values, maybe this is the way of showing that my values aren't quite correct yet, is because it's not reading exactly how I would think it would. Oh, that's too much. Let's go over there. Add a little bit of green right there from this. There we go. And this is where, this is always the point. It's usually these points of a painting to where I'm so up in my head that I don't just naturally find the answer. It just doesn't come naturally to me. So I do want to make sure that this eye is like super freaking green. So we're going to do some of that. Bam. Yes. There we go. And maybe, I mean, this could also be one of those things that once I integrate these colors in with actual brush strokes instead of just colors overlaying on top of brush strokes, maybe it'll look better. It's like this, I mean, it looks fine, right? Like, it's better than what it was. Yeah, because I mean, that's what it was. And that's way better, I think. And then, like, that's where we started. Got there. Then got there. Okay. I'm gonna save. See, that's the deal, is like, because I know what you mean with the less saturation. However, that's pretty saturated. Like, and of course I'm not doing like a master study of this or anything, but like, I guess only where the light hits. But I mean, that's super saturated, and that's in the shadow. Maybe just around focal points. But maybe the composition, the way it is, I mean, the face is our focal point, no question. Our secondary focal point would probably be the body, like right here, right? And then everything else would be a distant, very distant third. Maybe like the cloud edges or something. So maybe just a high saturation where the light would definitely hit. I need to darken the darks here for sure. I need to correct the form on some of these arms. Yeah, that's true. The kind of the nice brown, slate gray sort of stuff. Yeah, like everything back here. Of course, with atmospheric perspective, everything's going to be, there's less contrast, so there's less, it's all going to kind of match the color of the sky as it pushes back, which is true. So I mean, like this would actually be more of this, and it would be lighter. So there's more of this here. And yeah, it would definitely be lighter in value. Okay, so that's there. And that, I'm kind of fine with that kind of going away. Getting lost in the kerfuffle of it. And then there's that. So let me block in these colors, and then what I'll do, I'll basically merge everything, and then we can start looking at this. So yeah, if we knock down the cyan a little bit and only do the big hits of cyan right where the light hits as kind of the so if we have like boom, and then we have bright hit, bright hit, bright hit. Come up here, right, just to get some of that texturing on there. Yeah, that could make sense. Then we'll come back over here. Let's get a nice little kind of a red warmer here. You get rid of I know nothing. Well, I mean, here's the thing is noobs have eyes. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. So I'll answer Lucid real quick, and then we'll talk about this big ramble thing that I'm about to do. But I started with a drawing tablet. So one of the ones that's just a flat, and then you look down, and then you like look up at your monitor and draw on it. and I loved it. I thought it was great. Um, I needed very, very, very specific brushstrokes and stuff, and I wanted to actually get more natural at the dexterity of drawing and having my eyes match what I'm looking at. So that's why I jumped towards this. You can get an XP pen or a Huion, and it's like $40, and it's amazing. You can get, the only thing I would say, yeah, because I think you said you already got one, but make sure that the ratio is the same as your monitor. So like if you have a 16:9 monitor, make sure the ratio of your drawing area on your tablet or your touch tablet is also 16:9. There are actual advantages. I would not actually say there's any advantages. It's more, it might take less time for your brain to figure out, if I put my pencil right here, that's where the mark is. But literally, if I, God forbid, if this broke, I can pull out my touch tablet, my, drawing tablet, and I would be good within an hour. Because once you learn the connection of it, like that, if your hand is here and you see the mouse cursor and then you just adjust it before you make your mark, they're exactly the same, at least to me. Some artists might say something different, but like, I completely think, yeah, both are completely viable. And there's few of my friends that have Magic cards, and they've worked for D&D, and they've worked on feature films and stuff. They do not have a touch monitor. They don't want it to take up the space. They like the fact that they can just pack up their touch tablet and take it with them on the road. If they have their laptop, it's a separate thing. So like they can have their laptop here, put the drawing tablet on their lap, like in a hotel room if they're doing like Lightbox Expo or something. And then they can do all their work, travel, super easy. They even prefer that over something like an iPad. And I kind of get it, because like I said, I'm not great with the iPad, but yeah, there's some great artists that don't use any of the touch stuff. That as far as the touch monitor. Switching to the pin won't take, yeah, for sure. No, you already have the dexterity. Like, you have that mind muscle connection of working with stuff. If you're a gamer, yeah, you'll be fine in 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Tablet's better for your I would agree with that, actually. Because you're kind of forced to sit up, because as you'll notice, as we get a side eye of me, I'm like hunched over. I look like a gremlin whenever I'm working. But on Brent's point about, hey, the advice I'm given, I'm just a noob, whatever. I think there is as much merit, if not more merit, to someone who's a quote unquote noob giving thoughts and kind of not even criticism, but just like noticing things. Because as hard as I might want to try, I cannot get in the headspace of a beginner. I can't. It's not like a humble brag. It's just like, if you ask, and I don't want to like compare myself to like great athletes or whatever, but like, if you ask a pro F1 driver, well, how do you drive like an amateur? I don't know. I know at one point I did, but now I don't, But I think having that viewpoint and like having fresh eyes and eyes that like you're totally able to notice things I can't see. I can't see it. But then somebody points it out and you're like, duh, like a light bulb goes off and you're like, why did I not see this? I was so in the weeds. I was so hell-bent on like texture and brush strokes and edges and blah, blah, blah. Like all the theory that it's like, oh, did you notice that, the guy you're painting doesn't have a nose? And you're like, oh my God, he doesn't have a nose. I mean, that's egregious, but like, you know what I mean? It's there's superpowers in getting feedback from a variety of different skill levels. Um, that's also why I like doing YouTube videos. I like doing YouTube videos because it forces me to cut to the chase, get rid of all the theory and the study and the knowledge and stuff, and be like, okay, if I were starting today, what would I need to hear to get to the next step? And that's how I like to frame it. You know, that's why a lot of my stuff is very beginner friendly, because everybody's a beginner. Everybody has been a beginner. Beginners are beginners. Pros have been beginners. Everybody's a beginner. Everybody. So that's your biggest slice of pie right there. Like on the gaming side of things, whenever you do ranked modes in certain games, like Street Fighter or whatever, if you look at graphs, it's like 100% of people that have played rank have been the lowest rank. You may have even like ranked up above that for your placement games or whatever, no matter what game you're playing. Like if you start off at like bronze 3 is the lowest, maybe you started at silver 1, but that means you have been a bronze 3. You had to get your skills up to the level to be silver 1 for your first rodeo. You know what I'm saying? So like everybody's been there. So why not look at things from that viewpoint? Because that's going to help you solidify your ideas, and like things make more sense. You have to just think logically about it, like without all the noise. And that's where I'm getting caught up. And you'll see me, and I'll mention it time and time again on stream, I get so theoried up that I'm like, okay, I need to like take a step back and be like, what the hell am I trying to do, number one? And what is the simplest way to get that effect? What's the most simple way that I can think of without the burden of all the theory to do the thing? And we'll try that first. And then we'll start adding little bits of theory on top of that, like bounce lights and stuff. I struggle with them, not because I don't know the theory, because I do know the theory. It's just I don't find that the theory is necessarily correct all the time. And I think it's more important to have a better picture than it is a correct picture, like logically. You know what I mean? Does know anything? It's hard to teach because she asks questions. I'm like, yeah, like there are certain things to where one of my students, it was a few months ago, I completely, and this is more of like a technical side, so I can understand why they didn't know this, but I started talking about hex codes. And I was like, well, you know, if you just copy and paste the hex codes and stuff, and they were like, what's a hex code? And I was like, oh yeah. And then you realize, oh, well now we have to kind of describe how light works, like RGB values. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, well, here's the difference between RGB and additive color theory and subtractive color theory, which is pigment and like printers and CMYK and all that stuff. And you're like, oh, well now you have to keep cutting. Like, for me to explain this, I need to explain these 5 things. And then you realize it doesn't matter if they know hex codes or not. No. I mean, it's nice to know where to find them in a painting program, but you don't need them. But it's stuff like that. Like, you can get so in the weeds on this stuff that the part of picture making kind of loses the attention, which should never be the case. You should always worry about how does the picture look. What's up, Scott? Do you ever paint with iPad Art Studio Pro? Yes. So I don't paint with iPad a ton, but I do like it. And Art Studio Pro has some amazing brushes just out of the gate, like really cool stuff. But I might give away the spoiler. I was gonna save it for a YouTube video, but I have a new setup to where it is a crane that hooks up to the I used to have one for my microphone for like YouTube and stuff. You probably, if you've been around the YouTube channel for a while, you probably saw where the microphone's like right here, and you know I could shimmy it and all that stuff. I bought a new one of those for webcams. So I am going to have webcams set up that we might have an iPad night where you could see the lap right here. I can have the capture on the screen as well as my webcam of me drawing. But it also opens up stuff for YouTube where we're actually going to do watercolor and acrylic painting and oil painting. We're going to be able to dive in really deep and look at that stuff too. So it's going to be a game changer as far as like what we can cover on the channel. Sky's the limit now. We can talk about varnishes and gesso and freaking what's the difference between, you know, water mixable oils and oils, all that stuff. It opens up a whole new thing. Which is exciting, but it's also kind of overwhelming because it's like, okay, I need to figure out what is my channel about? Like, what is this? Because I do want to do more iPad art because you got stuff like Art Studio Pro, you got Infinite Painter, you got some really incredible stuff. Even Art Rage is on there. I haven't used Clip Studio on there, but you know, if it's anything like desktop, I bet it's baller. And yeah, there's just so much. There's just so much. There's not enough time. You know what I mean? Which is cool. It's fun. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. But I really have to kind of solidify down what I want the YouTube channel to be, because the live stream can be whatever we want it to be. Even just this, if it's this forever, me painting a thing and then talking to chat for a few minutes and then going back, I'm a-okay with that. That's fun. But the YouTube has to be a little more direct. You know what I mean? So, am I happy with how this is looking? The answer is kind of. I think if I come and start putting more variety in the face up here, I think that's where I'm going to really start liking it a little bit more. But do I like the orange color? Maybe this needs to be red because we had kind of that burnt sienna underpainting, which is a little too close to the orange. I bet that's what it is actually, because I think in my mind, I'm like, the dino doesn't look quote unquote complete to me. And I'm not even talking about rendering and like finalizing stuff, but I think because it still looks so close to what the original underpainting color was, I'm not seeing a difference. So maybe, what if we crank up this red right here, maybe even a little bit towards purple? And let's start introducing some of this. Because that'll also work great against blues and the whites and the greens and the cyans, right? That's a little too purpley, but that's fine. Yeah, and I bet once I correct some of these values, I'll be way happier. Yeah, I think red's the way to go. I'll keep some of these oranges in there, but like, that might be the secret sauce that we were needing to kickstart this bad boy. Oh, it's a little too much right there, but maybe kind of keeping all of it. Keep some of the reds, keep some of the orange, keep that cyan in there, keep some of those purples. You know what I mean? Maybe just really go ham. Colorful looking. Yeah, I really need to correct the values on this, like, gum line right here. So then this line comes down with the cyan. That doesn't make sense for the cyan to be there, but we hit up some of that. And some of that green in the shadows. Really have that pop of contrast. And of course we have the keep that red kind of around here because we have the green of the leaves in the foreground. So maybe something like that. Yeah, so I can definitely make some tutorials with the Art Studio Pro stuff. Because yeah, with that webcam setup, that should be good and easy to do. That'd be a lot of fun. Spend much of it all if you want to get into it. Yeah, like you can go all in. You can spend thousands of dollars on multi-monitor, blah blah blah. Like you can do all that, or literally if you already have a laptop, like a Chromebook or something, and you just want to buy yourself a $35 or $40 tablet, you're done. You know what I mean? You get yourself a free art software like Krita. You're good. I mean, you can easily go pro with a $40 tablet in Krita. Easy. The like learning and the art part is hard, but the back in the day, back in like 2001, Wacom was the only real game in town, and anything else was really bad and wasn't worth the money, and it felt almost like a scam. But nowadays, all the Korean companies, these Chinese companies, incredible value. And they work, in my opinion, they work better than the Wacom tablets. They just do. The joke in art school, because apparently the way you're supposed to say the word Wacom is Wacom. Like that's how they, whenever they came and did presentations and stuff, they were like, "Oh, we at Wacom." And so the joke in art school was you call them that because whenever they stop working, you whack them. You just hit them. You know. But yeah, with XP Pen and Huion and stuff, I've never had a driver issue. Not once. Not once. I've never had it fall out. The only thing I've had to do is change my batteries in my stylus. And those are AAA batteries. You just put them in, you're done. Works great. But here we go. I wonder if, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and we are going to save this out and take it in and start rendering. We're going to save this. Hard style, boom, boom. Because I think I know what the issue might be, but I can't necessarily fix it easily in PaintStorm. So we're going to have to open up let's open up Clip. Let's open it up here. Because now we're going to get into rendering. Let me duplicate this. Boom. Cool. CPU monitors, double monitors for less than 1,000. Krita was free. Yeah. Yeah, that's literally starting from scratch, and you'll get everything you need. Um, the way I always do my investments, as far as like investing in work stuff, or even with stuff like video games, like systems or any big purchase, really, is with art stuff. I'm like, okay, there's this cool thing. It might be a program or a brush pack or whatever, and I want to buy it. Will I make enough money using that thing to make my money back? So on things where it's like, oh, you know, crit is free, so that's an easy one. But let's say, okay, actually going from the touch tablet to the touch monitor, I had to ask myself, okay, moving to this, will I be able to secure a job for $250? Basically, will my next job pay for the thing? And then everything after that is profit. And the answer was absolutely yes. like like a bunch of times over that. So it was worth it. That was a worthwhile investment. So, and that works with traditional art too. You're like, okay, I like these Rosemary and Co. brushes, but the brush set is $80. Well, are those $80 brushes going to be so good that now you get a client that orders a painting worth at least $80? You know, and whenever you're talking oils and acrylics, add a few zeros behind that. You know, but still, like, are you going to get, or like oil painting, perfect example. Buying oil paint could be pretty expensive. But if each tube is $20 and you need the Anders Zorn palette, you know, 20, 40, 60, $80. You got your ivory black, your titanium white, your yellow ochre, and your cadmium red. Okay, that's $80 just on the paint. Will you sell a painting for at least $80? And if so, that's amazing, because you're not going to use all of the tube of paint on one painting. Do you see what I mean? Like, this is how you actually make money as a freelancer. You have to think that way. Like, okay, how many times over is this going to get me my money back? And that works with hardware, software, whatever. So that's the safest bet. That's also why I kind of keep my brush packs a low cost. Like, I think my most expensive brush pack is like $6 maybe. Might be $4. Yeah, it might be $4 actually. I want it to be affordable for people. I want people to be able to buy it for $4. And even if they only get a $20 commission once a year, that brush pack, if it helped them, they still got their money's worth. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of where my head's at on that. But anyway, that's a whole different that's a whole different topic. So first thing I'm gonna do, we're in clip. I'm gonna come here, get desaturated, boom, color. Yeah, the brushes didn't really mess with the values too much. But here's what's cool. Here's how you can tell how well the contrast of warm versus cool works. This is like the same values right here, right? I mean, these are very close in value. You can see the smudges, you can see all that, but like these are pretty close. But then you turn this off, and look at that. You got that cool green. Oh, it's chroma. I love chroma like that. Where do you sell your art? So I sell prints of my stuff, but mainly the way I make money is I do illustrations for companies. So like Lucasfilms and Varia and Imagine FX, and you know, we've done, God, a whole bunch of stuff. I'm working on some Gary Gygax stuff right now, some Percy Jackson, like, so that's where the money's made. But then all my personal stuff I get to sell as prints. But even the prints start at like $9, you know, on my print shop. So yeah, I want to keep my stuff affordable because I think that's important as well. I want a lot of people to be able to enjoy art and like owning art and stuff. So really where you only get to the really high dollar amount stuff is like custom commissioned oil paintings, because just to ship an oil painting is like $300, and that's within the state. Like it's a lot of money. Um yeah, so I mean there's different methods to do the math to sell physical art. Like whenever you're doing paintings, usually you just take the canvas size and multiply those two numbers together. Let me see if that still works. Um, and then you add however much, calculator. So let's say I'm doing an oil painting on a 9 by 12. And then is it 90? No, that's not it. Oh, I know what it is. You take the dimensions 9 by 12, which is 108. And some people multiply it by like how many hours they think it'll take. So if I think this painting will take 40 hours, I multiply that by 40, and then that's a $4,320 painting. You know what I mean? There's other ways to get that type of pricing, but that's a pretty safe one because you're like, okay, you're getting paid for your time. You know, you want your physical art that you make traditional to be worth a lot of money. Charge a lot of money for it. Because if you get people that start collecting your stuff, you want their stuff to retain its value too. So if you made one painting for $30 and your next painting's $5,000, that $5,000 person feels gypped. Because what do you mean that guy got one for 30 bucks? Are you kidding me? Like, you're gonna kill any traditional art career you would even think about having. But if you start with like, okay, even my sketches traditional start at 500 bucks. You know what I mean? Mine don't personally, but let's just say that yours do. Now you have some wiggle room. Now, okay, I'm going to cut a discount. You're a family member. Let's do 300 instead of 500. You're still getting your money. You're getting your worth. And that's still kind of on the low side. But you know what I mean? And then you can build up from there. So then, instead of the collectors feeling out like they're getting snubbed, they want to get in early to get your better, like slightly lower prices. But you still got to be serious about it. Like, they gotta draw out some money. Like that's it. I mean, you're getting a one of one. This only exists here. You will own it. It was made by hand by an artisan. You gotta charge money for that. You have to. If you don't, what are you doing? Like, you're destroying a career before it even starts. But that's why with digital art, I want to sell prints. I want people to be able to own it if they want to, put it on their wall. But I also don't want to break the bank because that's available anywhere in the world to anyone in the world. So it's not worth charging $400 for a print. No. Not unless it's like limited edition. Not unless I'm only making like 10 prints. Then maybe. But once again, you get the value proposition. Like, if it's one of one, it's worth a whole lot of money. But if it's one of infinite, yeah, it's worth 20 bucks. You know what I mean? Or however many people want to buy it. Yeah, we'll start at like $8 or $9 and work up from there, depending on the size. But yeah, I mean that's my take on it, at least. It's traditional art's a whole different ballgame, you know, which is cool. But it's way harder to get into because you have to find buyers right away. Digital art's kind of nice because you have everything on the computer. You can put it on social media easily. You don't have to set up a studio to take the pictures. You know, everything's kind of there, and then you just deliver the thing. And it's super easy for iterations. For illustration work, it's super easy. Because they're like, hey, can we see what this looks like in blue? Yeah. Give me 20 minutes. You know, like you can just go and do a hue shift and you're good to go. For selling digital art, mainly do sci-fi and fantasy. So The print game is difficult, I would say. Um, but like imprint is really the best one I found. I would stay away from sites like Redbubble and things like that because the colors aren't very good. Yeah, they're cheaper and like you get more of a percentage, but the people buying the art are not as happy. So I would say go with imprint is sort of they're kind of the art station also does pretty good prints as well. So if you already have an art station account, um, you can go ahead and use them. And yeah, it's good. But that way you get some feelers out. You're not out any money. Like you don't need to buy an Epson printer or anything, because some of those printers are in the 5 digit, like with lasers and all that stuff. And that's not even talking about the paper. God, the paper is freaking expensive for archival quality paper. It's ridiculous. Um, but that way somebody else has taken the hit. Yeah, you'll get less money out of it, but you'll see if the interest is there as far as if you can sell. Because I mean, I do illustration work for people. It gets published in role-playing game books and things like that. I've maybe across my entire like 5-year professional career, I think I've sold 6 art prints, 7 maybe. So you have to be a very specific, and I'm not saying you can't do it. Please do, like try. If you figure it out, let me know. But like, there's not a lot of money in it from what I found. But I'm also not primarily making artwork to hang on the wall. I'm making artwork to get a job for Magic or Wizards or, Pathfinder or Forgotten Realms or, that type of like EverQuest. Like, that's my gig is, I want to be on a Marvel comic or something. Like, that's what I want to do. But if you approach it more like a fine artist and all you do and the only way it's available is on your portfolio in a print, you might have better success. Yeah. Yeah. I would find your niche right away and then start to try to sell. But it's even then, it it's just hard to sell. It really is. And that's why I was like, with traditional art, you have a one of one, but then you need to find a buyer right away. So a good way if you want to get into traditional art and making money that way, offer to do portraits of people's pets. Pet portraits, you could have a storied career, not even leaving your town. And that's kind of where, like, people love pet portraits. Oh my God. And they're personalized. You have to think, if it's a one of one painting and it's of somebody's dog or cat or what horse or whatever, it means something to them. It's going to mean something to you because they are your client. You want to make them happy. Like, you're already starting on the right foot. But just like, it sounds weird, but you have to give reason people to care about your artwork. Because we talked about this last stream. What I'm realizing now is people don't care how good you can paint. Not really. I mean, it's nice to look at and stuff. And whenever you're like another artist looking at another artist, you can appreciate some things. But like, your everyday someone you meet at a grocery store. Oh, cool, you paint? Oh, that's cool. Like the Rembrandt type stuff. Oh, that's neat. Oh, wow, that's really good. All right, see ya. And they don't care. Like, so you have to give people the reason to care. And whether that's fan art, a lot of people do fan art. I kind of just, it's not like illegal or anything, but I shy away from it because I don't necessarily own the stuff. So I don't want to become a fan artist. And nothing wrong with that. If you can make a career out of it, great. But like, if I'm going to paint a specific thing, like a transformer, I want it to be because Transformers hired me to make a painting of their thing. Like, that's the goal. And the best way to do that is just get your stuff out there. Make so much art that your eyes bleed, and then knock on wood that somebody notices. But anyway, back to this. Sorry, going off on tangents. But hey, that's why I like live streams, right? So we have our value checker. Let me rename that. Value checker. There you go. Well, I mean, it's just, there's such a storied legacy with sci-fi and fantasy, you know? I mean, you'll get fans for sure. Everyone does. There's room for everybody. So I think it's just finding that niche and kind of what stories you're trying to tell. And that's where your gas is going to be. That's where, you know, you're going to really start cooking. But I mean, Frank Frazetta was not always Frank Frazetta. In fact, before he did Death Dealer and Conan the Barbarian, people called him a has-been and washed out. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll show you." And then invented a genre of painting, essentially. You know what I mean? Like, ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's just, you never know. So try it. So do your thing. There's only one you. That's your moneymaker. And, you know, I wrestle with this sometimes too. I'm trying so hard to make my stuff look a certain way. Like, oh, well, maybe if I make this type of painting, Magic will hire me. Who cares? Like, who cares if Magic hires me? Really? Am I getting better at the craft? Am I doing my thing? That's where the power is, because no one else can do what I do. No one else can do what you do. That goes to everybody out there. No one can do what you do. So figure out that thing and do it. You know, and you won't have to take no for an answer, because you're going to get nothing but yeses. I mean, because people have never seen anything like it, you know. It's whenever you start to try to emulate other people that things start going off the rails. And I know I'm a big hypocrite, because I'm looking at like Tyler Jacobson art and I'm like, I wonder how Tyler Jacobson does this. But there's method to the madness. I just need to figure that part out, and then it will give me the freedom to be able to take more chances on myself and do my thing, rather than rely on the backbone of other people. You know. But anyway, once again, back to this. I'm gonna hide this. We're gonna actually pick we got the Greg Rutkowski brushes. Let's do some damage. What do you say? What do you say, kids? Let's do MH brush. Sure, why not? Why not? We're gonna start adding in some actual brushwork, you know? Instead of dropping some weird colors and hoping for the best. So the first thing I need to figure out for real is the body of this dinosaur. Comes across an expert with learner's mindset. Absolutely, yeah. James Gertie is Mount Rushmore. He is Mount Rushmore for artists. Like, it's just him. It's his face 4 times on the Mount Rushmore. Like, one of my prized possessions is the signed copies of the books, and he sent me a postcard. It says, "To Wes, from James." I have it on my plaque up there. But yeah, there's nobody better. There's nobody better. And he is at such a high level that he has forgotten more about art this past week than I will learn for the rest of my life. I don't know how he's one of those. We talked about it a few hours ago, but he's one of those that I look at it and I was like, how did this happen? Like, how do you do this? Like, I know what painting is, but this is something else. he is transcended. What he's doing and what I'm doing are not the same thing. Like, it's just a different, I don't know, man. It's such a different mentality, but he's so good. Ooh, maybe not that brush, but we're going to keep that there. We live and learn. That's a better one. Yeah, give me some texture. Give me some of that texture. In your notice, we're just going to paint on the layer, and we're just going to do it in color. Is what this is. So I have so I listened to the I think it's called the First War trilogy, the one with Yarvi and like half a man, or like, what is it? Half a king, half a war, half a, that series, which was amazing. And then, yeah, I got the blade itself. They're all back here, but I have those on audiobook as well. And I need to start them because, yeah, he is fantastic. I also have the first Mistborn book by Brandon Sanderson. I've not read any Brandon Sanderson yet either. It's crazy. I'm a poser when it comes to fantasy, I guess. Yeah, these are really saturated. I don't know if I like that, but we'll fix it. We'll fix it in post. I need a little more variety in my tones. So, yeah, the First Law trilogy, yeah. What was I doing here? Oh, I wonder, is that where more teeth are? Maybe? Maybe. Okay. David Gemmell, that sounds familiar. What has he written? So I know what I need to do. I need to come in with a sharp brush. Kind of have that. There we go. Kind of reestablish some of these silhouettes. Get these shapes looking good. Let me get that one, maybe? No. There's a very specific Greg Rukowski brush that I love, and I can never remember the name of it. So I always end up picking through. Well, this is one of them. This is a really good brush. Which one's this one? Sample Brush 948. Of course, it rolls off the tongue. But yeah, that nice painterly, very sharp, graphical read. Gives us some good detail without having to do anything, which I like. Let's come in and just add some of that. Okay. Yeah, I think it's already looking a little more natural. Yeah, that is not correct. I'm going to come in with this color. Kind of fix that. Let's get us some yeah, I need to fix this shape on this foreground deal because that's just a little sloppy and it's causing a weird tangent in my brain. So if I come here, fix some of this, bring in some of that nice look right there. Legend Waylander. Ooh, an OLED tablet. I'd be nervous. I would drop it. I'd be terrified. Hell, that's why I haven't gotten a Steam Deck yet. I have a Switch. I have one of the old school Switches. I say old school, the non-OLED Switches. And I want to get a Steam Deck. I really do, especially to do like emulation stuff on it. But they have that new OLED, and while it looks cool, I'm worried I would crack it immediately. Yeah, Clip Studio, man. It's so good. Like, it just, the more I use it, the more I like it. You know. Yeah, so we can see these fun little brushes right here. Just crazy textures and stuff, so don't need a lot, but what I'm gonna do now is get oh yeah, these are Aaron Griffin brushes. I love his brushes. So let me see what this one looks like. What's this one do? Yeah, look at that splatter brush. I like it. Give me some of that. A little bit of that splatter right there. Thank you much. Thank you much. This is just a fun way to incorporate texture without being super specific about it. Got some of that. You got a few of these. And it does a great job of like blending between things. Makes it look painterly, but like a little rough and tumble still. I dig it. Cool. But really, the money is in, let me actually go here. Boom. We got our render brush. What am I going to do? We're going to do this. We are going to bump the darkness up a little bit. And we're going to smooth brush transition and actually render here. Stay kind of zoomed out. So really, I need to. Here's that. This way. What we can also do, I get the sharper version of this brush. Come in here. Grab that. Transition between them. And we can always come back in and add more texture again. Yeah, so I need to get this a little sharper. Here, grab that and then soften some of that. So it comes to a very clear edge. But then you also get to do a little bit of smudgertons. And then this is actually where I think I need to darken some values a little and really kind of render out more of the jaw shape here. It's not quite correct, but we'll come over here. That's cool. And then, I mean, this is even not like zoomed all the way in. So whenever we really want to get some rendering in here is whenever we can come in super tight. Connect all of these brush strokes and stuff. Grab that. Actually, let me get my diagonal texture. Here we go, something like this. Pure white, boom. Might be a little too dark right there, but we'll temper it back a little bit. Get that lighter there. Let's do the Jamie Jones brush. All right, Brent. Thank you, brother. Thanks for hanging out, man. Have a great day. And I mean, I've been live for a while, I think. So I will. I'll probably go for another 15 minutes or so, and then I might call it. So I mean, we've made good progress. You know, we've made good progress on the old painting. There's still a lot to do, a whole lot to do. But that gives us something to work on, you know, next time we go live. I need to bring this brush size down. Or no, the brush size is fine. The opacity I need to bring down. I'm actually gonna paint over that. Yo! So yeah, we're finally going to be able to go live pretty regularly every week, which I am very excited about. So as of right now, it'll be every Saturday night and every Wednesday night. So here we're just gonna add some sort of detail-y brush stuff. Let me get that. These open. What do I need? I need to come back. Let me still render out with this one because I think there are a few things I need to fix before we get too far in the weeds, right? I'm going to sharpen that. We can always come back later and re-blur edges out, you know? Oh, it's 122 here, so. How many brushes is too many brushes? I don't think there are too many brushes. Technically, you can do everything with a hard round, a soft round, and like a chalk brush. But brushes are fun. So the more brushes you have, if it keeps you painting, if it keeps that interest alive, use a million if you want to. So yeah, I really need to focus on the forms of our friend here. Let me go amount of paint, density of paint. Is that right? No, that feels really weird. Maybe. So this actually doesn't need to be that bright. This can live out there. Same thing here. I have. So something I have noticed in a ton of art that I just really like the look of is the focus of cast shadows. So shadows, and as they're being cast on other things, so like how the shadow on the tooth right here is making these teeth back here darker, which is, I mean, is technically correct because the mouth is almost like a canopy and it's hiding where that light is is hitting. So you have like your ambient occlusion, you have your all the rules of it, but like the art that I really love really kind of focuses on it. And maybe that is a thing I need to start doing more of. You know, start focusing more on cast shadows. Like what's casting shadow on what. So like right here would be a perfect example. If I come over here, this head would probably be casting a shadow down here a little bit. So maybe like this. There's ambient occlusion where there's no light hitting really. Let me get darker. Boom. Yeah, so I think we're at the point now we just kind of massage it. You know, we just sort of work our way down the dinosaur and start making it happen, you know? I'm going to get that brush right here. I'm going to grab that one. That's cool. Liking that one a lot. Yeah, every once in a while, a good splatter brush can just wake you up. You know what I mean? Just, it can make it happen. Like, look at some of that. Look at that. That's dope. There's no real reason to use it. It just looks cool. You know? And it kind of softens the edges a little bit of the clouds and all that. It makes your eye able to make that transition a little better. It's almost like cross-hatching in a way. But yeah, that's cool. I don't want to use it too much. Don't want to use it too much. Don't want to give away the hand quite yet. Oh, I know what we were going to do. We are going to lower the value of the mountains. That's right. Let's do the value. We're actually going to bump it up. That's a little too. It's a little too crazy. There we go. That's a little too crazy too. We need it to be that. There we go. Bring the opacity down even more, like 16%. Bring it up a little bit. There we go. Then we can up that opacity right there. See, and that kind of pushes the mountain back a little more. What I need to do is define more. There's that. Let me get rid of that. There you go. Oh yeah, and I talked about fixing this leaf that's close to us. So I'm gonna get rid of a lot of that jagged stuff. And that should help it a little bit. Let me do that one. That chalk brush, is that good? Yeah, that's a good one. Cool. And then let me get that. I can use this to even detail some of the kind of the scaly look on here. A good chalk brush is a very powerful weapon. It can do a lot for you. Actually, that is an incorrect shadow. That shadow don't make no sense. So we'll just do that. Yeah, now that we're actually adding some texture and stuff in there, I think the dino is reading better. So I need to get rid of... There we go. That, I need that muscle to really read correctly. There we go, that's better. And then also, I need a leg. Yeah, so I just saw that, Phoenix. So really what it was, the dino's leg, he was running and it's back behind the bush. But I can actually probably just make one like right here. So I am going to look at my reference. I can do like that kind of look, maybe. So if I do this, that's weird. You know what we're gonna do? We are going to get rid of both of its legs. That way, we can properly get the physics of how it would be standing. So it would make more sense to have this leg be the one. going back and this leg coming forward, maybe? Maybe so. Because the leg goes directly into the tail, like that. Okay. Let's work out this anatomy. So then if that connects here, I'm trying to visualize the other side of the leg because it's basically going to be a reverse of this. So the hind leg is going to be coming forward while the front leg is going to be coming down at the side. But if his body's over here, maybe it's like this? And then here is some red hits right there while I'm thinking about it. Anyway, got that, and then maybe that one. Something like that, maybe. And then we can bring that up. Let me grab a kind of a softer brush. Maybe it doesn't need to be that extreme. Maybe it can just be like this. Something like that. And then we can sort of see behind it. Let me, what am I looking at? Yeah, something like that. No. Well, maybe. Oh, that's why, because that needs to be more rounded. Like that. And then this leg. That's too far. Yeah, that's better. Because something I've noticed, Velociraptor is not very, like, wide, like, breadth. So the legs would kind of be close together. And it's not like it has this, like, hip that can turn legs out. So the legs wouldn't be that far apart, really. So something like this is probably more correct, you know, being closer, even though, so if we do like that maybe, and then something like this. And that actually works pretty well because we can still, there doesn't have to be a ton of detail on this leg for it to work. And I mean, we are going to put more detail on it, but it doesn't have to be. Yeah, something like that. And then if we come back over here, fill in this gap, fill in this gap. That's starting to read a little better. Might change the tip of this leaf. Actually, yes, I should change the tip of it because if these two are rounded, this one needs to be a little more like that. Something like that. And then these are where I can get some nice kind of maybe a little dark actually. Yeah, so we're getting there. I think this is looking a little better. The anatomy on the dinosaur is still messing me up. I don't think I'm quite there yet with him. Actually, what I'm gonna do was enough streams was to learn. Oh, what's up, Beef? Thank you so much, my friend. It's a pleasure, man. I love it. It's just so much fun, you know, and like having that joy and spreading the joy is what it's all about. So I'm glad you're here. I'm probably gonna wrap up here in about 15 minutes for tonight, but we're gonna be going live every Saturday night and every Wednesday night, and we're gonna make it happen. You know, make it happen. So what I want to do, file. I'm going to save as here. Boom. Yes. Player information. You want to proceed? Yes. Okay. So really what I want to do, because I love clip, I love all that, but there are, oh, so this would be cool because this is where we started, and then this is where we started tonight. So we had our kind of photo bashy stuff, and then here is where we're ending up. I'm gonna work a little more on it, but this is a good, yeah, this is a good way to show the progress we made so far. So see, we kept all that kind of the warm underpainting, so we could have these kind of nice textured brushy looks to it. So I mean, if we started like that, so I am gonna probably reference this to add the detail back into the face. But yeah, I mean, this is completely workable. I probably need to do something about this mid background, I guess. Do something about that. Add some interesting. There's enough room right here that I can add some good rendered stuff and not have it take away from, you know, our dino friend. But so there are some brushes that I got that I am digging, and I want to use some of these in Photoshop Because I would say there's probably another 5 or 6 hours left on this one to get it to where I want it for the portfolio. You know, so. Got that. Yeah, this brush is super nice. It's going to be part of my next brush pack. I need to make some edits to it, of course, but like the harder you push, it gets more of the sharp edge. But even in Photoshop, it has a great painterly tail to it. So you can render if you want to, but it's not required. Very cool. So like that type of stuff. It's like smudgy, but not really. Then we're going to come, I am going to make that back part a little, that silhouette a little better, because I think that is pretty important. Because once again, we'll go open up the Tyler Jacobson real quick, and we'll notice that his silhouettes are freaking perfect. Like, unbelievably good shapes. So yeah, I like that sort of look. But if we look at the silhouettes, those are just great shapes. Great shapes. You can read them from a mile away. But you kind of zoom in and look at that nice little, it's not a super sharp brush. It's just nice changes in value and changes in temperature. But then, you know, you come in and yeah, there's definitely some, you know, sharper brushes. But that's kind of a nice secret, is whenever you're digital painting, the secret is have way more soft edges than hard edges. Because then the hard edges are really going to stand out, you know. Especially on the Rebellion art. It's like, Canton, hello, my friend. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Yeah. It's funny, the YouTube video I just finished today, it'll come out in a few days, but I use Rebel for parts of it. It's basically showing how to do a certain technique in a few different programs, but really works on every digital art program. But Rebel's one of them. Clip Studio's one, and Rebel, and Photoshop. So 3 different ways to get the same type of result. So it'll be a fun one. It's interesting. But yeah, glad you could make it, Ken. Thank you so much. But yeah, the secret to really believable kind of digital paintings, and really paintings in general, a lot of soft edges, very few hard edges, and then some lost edges where it just completely gradiates and blends away. Even see you later. Ask about that mentorship soon. Yeah, man. Thank you, Phoenix, so much for hanging out. Appreciate you. It's always good to see you. And if you don't know the difference between lost edges and hard edges and soft edges, I'll try to show it in this painting right here of Tyler Jacobson's. So hard edges are going to be the very, I mean, he's very painterly, and this is a low resolution picture, but the very, he actually doesn't have a whole lot. Probably where the eyes are, the eyebrows, kind of where these gauntlets are. These are probably pretty sharp edges. Or actually, let me get, okay, I can use Izzy's painting. Sharp edges are going to be like this. It's almost like a razor blade. That's how sharp you want that. A lost edge. It's funny, there's not a lot of lost edges on Izzy's painting, but there's a ton of lost edges on Tyler's painting. A lost edge is stuff like this, where it kind of blends cloudy into itself, and like you can tell there's different colors and hues here, but it all just sort of melds and together. But then a soft edge is where you have something like this. You see where the red is? But it's not a hard edge. Like, it still kind of melts into each other, but it's more of a defined edge than something like the difference between, you know, these yellows. That's a lost edge. It literally loses itself. You can't find it anymore. So a vast majority, you want soft edges, then sprinkle in some lost edges there where the values are kind of the same, and then hard edges for your focal point. That's where some magic will happen. And I'm going to do that at the very last step. Like, I'm going to go in and adjust my edges to make it look better. You can wait until the very end to do stuff like that. But yeah, I got this brush right here. Really liking it. This is actually some brushes from a Riot artist that I was able to use when I did some Riot stuff. They gave me the brush pack, and need to start using them more, because it's kind of after the look that I want anyway, you know, more of the nicer shapes, the silhouettes. Oh, so here's a perfect example of a lost edge. So I'll do a lost edge for you right here. See how that, even if the temperature changes, there's not really an edge. I can even do an airbrush and really get it to you. So that's a lost edge. That's a lost edge. How that gradient shift is the only thing that's there. Also, that makes for very believable clouds. So if I get this airbrush and I come in here and I do like, see, I like some of these edges, but okay, let's say we get this edge right here. Get that nice airbrush. Here too. It's great because it adds see that? You just really, it blends them out. It's so good. A lot of people use smudge tools to do this. I actually prefer using airbrushes. I think it's really soft airbrushes. I think it does that look better. And see how it kind of makes that a little more interesting, and it makes the clouds a little more interesting to look at. Like, that's the fun of it. That's the fun. And like, it even works great for rendering form. So like, I need to fix the form on the Velociraptor right here. So I'm just going to pick the darker and then really curve that form out. And of course I can come back in, which I will, and use more of a painterly thick brush, but like you can see how now it has a little bit more, there's weight, you know. Yeah, that nice like a la Prima wet on wet stuff. Which I love. I just can't get enough of it. Like we're chasing that dragon. You know what I mean? We're going for it because I need to look at it one more time. But like, this Tyler Jacobson painting is stupid good. But this is kind of the ultimate goal, right? Like, And the warms and the cools and the... I can literally just look at this for like 4 hours and absorb things. But yeah, and like that same idea here is present like here. So it's this. This is like those bright greens. God, it's so freaking brave. And to wrap up, because yeah, 4 minutes. So to wrap up tonight's stream, something that I always do, and I tell students this as well, but whenever I really sit back and do this, it tells me a lot about myself, but it's also like I don't know how to fix it necessarily. If you had this painting on your canvas, this was your painting, you're 40 hours in, you're in the weeds, what I would probably have the tendency to do is think, oh, this is that warm crack of lightning, right? This green, since it's in the light and getting illuminated, needs to have some of that red on there, because that red is the thing giving it light, right? But that's not necessary. It's not necessary. We can clearly see it's not necessary because this is a finished Magic the Gathering painting. So why do I have the tendency to want to add that warm to the light? Even if it logically makes sense, it won't make as dynamic of an image. It loses something. So that's what this is. It's the, and then this one throws me for a loop. Like, what in the hell? These are lighter leaves, but they're being lit blue. Is it because the sky is blue? But do you see a blue sky anywhere in this painting? No. So where the hell did this blue come from? But it doesn't matter because it looks right. It's perfect. It's exactly what it needs to be. It's desaturated, like pulled toward the grays. But it looks right. Like, that's the stuff. The intangibles. The stuff that doesn't logically follow a rule of bounce, light, and color, and burr. Like, the goal is to get out of your own head and make stuff that looks good. Period. You know, and this looks great. So it's like, that's the deal. And then you come back and you look at this, and it's fine, and the rendering is okay and stuff like that. But, you know, there's still a lot of work to do, but there's something missing. There's some dynamicism, or whatever you want to call it. And that's what I'm searching for now. This is where I'm at the point in my art career, is like, what puzzle am I trying to solve looking at this that I can replicate the thought process into something like this? There's like a missing ingredient. Right. Well, that's true too. I mean, we're all kind of, we have all have artistic eyes here, so we're noticing stuff that people are like, how do you even see that? Like, I see a big ass dinosaur with a cloud, but I'm like, the dynamicism isn't there. You, I mean, so how important is that really? But I guess just from a level up side of things, it's like there's something. And I don't know if it's a technique or not. I think it's a technique. But what the hell's the technique? Like, that's the puzzle piece. That's the part I'm infinitely like, I gotta find it. I'm always gonna chase it, whatever it is. I don't even know if what I'm saying like makes sense. But there's a certain intangible that all of these have that I am drawn to that I cannot replicate. Or I haven't been able to replicate, I should say. There's always, if there's a will, there's a way. And I don't know if it comes down with like, oh, it's the saturation of the colors. Oh, it's, you know, they're using more colors, or oh, it's actually less colors than you think. Or like, I don't think it's anything like that. It might be, but I feel like I'm looking in the wrong place. For whatever thing. Because to be fair, if I come over here, I go to canvas, I go to grayscale. You take away the colors. I mean, these, of course, they work because all of these people are grandmasters of what they do. But, you know, if I come in and if I do the cheat sheet thing, if I do this, if I go fill, 50% gray, sure. I'm going to go here. I have that. I'm going to go, let's do select all, edit, copy merged, paste, brightness contrast. I'm going to up the brightness. I'm actually going to keep the brightness there, but then the contrast I'm going to hit. Let me actually lessen this. Let me bring that in. Boom. Okay. We're going to merge down. I'm going to select this to get all the colors. Edit, copy, merged, edit, paste. On top of that, then change this to color. So it looks cool, right? And then what I can do here, I can actually do this and go airbrush this out. You know what I mean? Like, we're just playing with the contrast, we're making the darks darker, the lights lighter, we're doing more of a bloom, you know, hit light type thing. So like, this is what I'm talking about. I can get what I think is a similar type of contrast. Not as professionally done, but like, that, and then we'll see kind of what that looks like. And it's cool. But it ain't these. I don't know. A lot to think about. A lot to think about. But let me kick over here. Let me go right there. Beautiful. man. Cool. All right, so let me lower that down. I will move this over here very quickly. Cool. So I think we got to a good spot. To end on. And yeah, thank you so much for hanging out. It was a blast. Love doing this. Love. And yeah, thanks Marco for that sub goal, man. Ridiculous. He gifted 10 subs, so unreal, man. Appreciate you very much. He's going to be teaching me Street Fighter very soon. We're going to do a few gaming streams. Primarily, this is going to be an art stream through and through, but I do think as a kind of a nice variety, maybe once a month or so, we're going to do a video game stream, and I'm learning some fighting games. I'm okay at them, but Marco, my good friend, great friend actually, one of my best friends, he is a master's rank on Street Fighter 6 and got there within, I don't know, 3 weeks of the game being out. He's one of the top tier players. He's definitely the best player I know personally, but he's good enough. He went to EVO, the fighting game tournament that happened not too long ago, and he did the open brackets and he got like a 3-2 record. And these people are the best in the world, and he's a beast, man. So he's gonna be teaching me Street Fighter. I think that'll be a lot of fun. I think it'll be ridiculous. He's gonna have to like slap me across the face a few times. So that type of stuff we'll look forward to on the stream as well. But primarily 98% of the time it's going to be art stuff. In here, I think you're right about the values. Like there is something about it. To be fair, whenever I did that thing just now where I did the brightness contrast layer, masked some of that out, brought in the lights, made it a little bit more dynamic, it did help. It definitely helped. Because everything was kind of flat beforehand, and now this is bringing in some of that really rich contrast as far as values. But it's still not quite. Maybe I just need to stick with the values now and then really go in and start rendering and making more stuff, just more and more and more. Put more plants, more flowers, more trees, more stuff, and then stay within that value range, and then we'll see how it looks. That might be it. Like you said, stuff is there's so much to it. There's so many overlapping elements, and maybe I need to really push that forward. That could be it for sure. Yeah, the theory and the practice it's totally the same. I know real-time strategy games pretty well. Like I played StarCraft for a long time, and Stormgate's coming out, and Age of Empires, Command and Conquer, like all that stuff. Love those games. But only recently, in the past year or so, have I started really taking it seriously as far as, okay, let me learn dexterity, let me muscle memory, the same way I did art. Let me focus and let me really learn this stuff and get a new appreciation for it. So I want to do that with fighting games, and Marco's the best guy to do it, for sure. But yeah, like super fun, right? It's fun. It's all about learning, all about growth, and even an old guy like me at 38 years young, I like learning, man. I just love it. Can't get enough of it. So yeah, we'll figure it out. But that's my time, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you very much. I think we've been live for, God, 3.5 hours maybe. I thought I had the timer up somewhere. Maybe it is somewhere, and I need to click somewhere and see. But yeah, we've been live for quite a bit. But yeah, love it. We're going to be live again on Saturday night. Hit me up on social medias and all that stuff if you want to see what we're going to be streaming. The odds are pretty good. We're probably going to finish this or maybe start on a new painting. Who knows? But yeah, a lot of fun. Thank you for hanging out. All of you are amazing. Super awesome. And because you all are super awesome, I will play the Katana Zero soundtrack for you guys on the way out of here, because it is very awesome. It has some dope music. We listened to it at the front of the stream, and we're going to listen to it here, because right now we are listening to Guild Wars 2 Mega Mix. That's kind of up, but let me stop yapping and get out of here so you can listen to some rad music. If you haven't heard Katana Zero, get it, like buy it. It's like $5 for the album. It's a video game, but super cool. But you're about to hear it. So yeah, we'll see you guys on Saturday night. I appreciate you all very much for hanging out. We'll see you soon. Peace.